What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're check out the new album Leap of Death by the band Left to Suffer. This is the third studio album from the deathcore band since they formed in 2019. They established themselves as one of the heavy and most unique sounding deathcore bands around. Their last album, Feral, is beautifully brutal, and they use a lot of different sounds and songwriting styles that aren't too common within the genre, so it made them stand out quite a bit. They also have an EP from 2022 titled And Dying Forever that to me is just as impactful as most of the LPs that came out that year. And going back even further to 2021, they released the EP On Death that won a lot of people over with its raw riffs and unforgiving aggression. It also had features from Crystal Lake, Alpha Wolf, and Chelsea Grin to make it stand out even more. But if you're looking for peak, angry, pissed off Left to Suffer, their debut album, A Year of Suffering, is it. Signs of the Swarm is featured on the opening track titled Blissful Death, and it is like a punch in the face. So when they announced that they were releasing a new album and they dropped their first single, Lost in the Dark, we were all expecting just the most insane thing that we have ever heard. It features Mark Azili, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, the vocalist from Paleface Swiss, and it has more dissonance than you could shake a stick at. It opens up on the catchy chorus with some great lyrics. The verse picks up the pace with a vocal performance that you will never forget. Verse 2 is extremely chaotic with insanely fast vocals from Mark, getting you ready for the breakdown that will change your life. And then they released this single, Forever, which really confused a lot of people. It features season 17 American Idol runner-up Alejandro Aranda, and the intro is not exactly what you would expect with a strong synth and dreamlike clean vocals. The chorus keeps that going with just a little bit more passion. The post-chorus is where this song becomes a Left to Suffer song with blast beats and distorted vocals. Verse 2 has a very cool dynamic riff and a stompy rhythm. It becomes heavier as it progresses, and one of the verses, I think it's like verse 6 or something like that, is one of my favorite moments on this album, with vocals that have just a little bit of a break, a little bit of a grit to them. It sounds so good, and you completely forget that there's a clean section of this song because it sounds so separated. The intro sounds like it's a completely different song, but when the chorus comes back around again, it just sounds so good. I can't lie. I absolutely love this song. I know deathcore purists, Left to Suffer purists are not going to be too excited about this song. I'm sure that they're not a huge fan, but I don't know. It's a match made in heaven. The vocals from Taylor and the vocals from Alejandro just mixed together so beautifully. And I can't get enough of this one. The next single, Make It Out Alive, starts off with a dubstep kind of beat thing with snarling vocals hanging out in the background. It sounds pretty cool, I think. And then we have the chorus and verse, which sees the band going back to form with a lot of distortion and growls. The songwriting in this is pretty progressive. They bring the intro back around for the pre-chorus with the distorted vocals accompanying again. The post-chorus features Darius from Spite, and he sounds okay. This isn't a knock against him whatsoever, but Taylor's vocals are doing so much already. He's snarling. He's got all kinds of different vocal varieties going on. It just didn't really seem necessary to me. He's already just doing everything in the song. And then we have the last single, Give Them Death, which was also the only single that didn't have a feature in it, and it feels a little bit more metalcore than anything else. The verses are very ethereal with clean vocals, and it becomes a little bit more emotional as it goes into the chorus. The refrain is super heavy, as is verse 2, with the creature sounding like vocals. The contrast between the two different vocal styles is great. Again, I know not a lot of fans are going to enjoy this all that much, but personally for me, I felt like it worked pretty well. Verse 3 and the outro are heavy as hell. So it's not like, the band has gone soft, as a lot of people tend to complain about. Then we have the song Will It Take My Breath, which also borders metalcore quite a bit. The pre-chorus riff is great before all drops out going into the chorus. The clean and distorted vocal duet sounds alright. It features Aaron Matz from 1056, who sounds pretty good in verse 3. Not quite what I was expecting. And then there's more dubstep beats in the bridge. This song just feels like it's all over the place. It feels like they're trying to do too much and nothing's really quite hitting all that hard. Like they have 8 different ideas for 8 different songs and they pieced it all together in one song, and it feels like they're not pushing in any direction, which to me just makes it feel like a weaker song. It's not bad. It just, I don't know. It's just a song that is just kind of there and just all over the place. Luckily, they go back to form though with the next song, Forsaken. The vocals sound like a dying demon at times, while the music has haunting melodies and the catchy riff in the chorus. The bridge sounds like a soundtrack to an 80s horror movie with the synth hanging out in the background. And to me, this sounds like a better example of trying to do too much, but doing it extremely well. I went back to this song just multiple times trying to hear all the different pieces. Like this time they had 8 different ideas of different songs and they were able to just tie them all together and make them all work together so freaking well. I would say this is one of the best songs off the album and one of the coolest songs that they've ever written. Then we have the song Slow Talk, which kind of reminds me of like a symphonic death metal, technical death metal song in the intro, but then it quickly changes in the verse with a synth beat and cleans. It sounds good, but to me it just sounds like radio metalcore. Like the distorted vocals sound good also, and the bridge is cool, but it just doesn't keep itself from sounding generic. To me, this sounds like it should have been a single, a song that reaches a lot more people, a song that doesn't really have too many like cool points to it. So that way when you actually get into the album itself, you start hearing all the other cool songs as like, you know, this one just catches your ear and it gains a lot more people around it that normally wouldn't be into Left to Suffer. And then it brings them into the super heavy stuff that's found on this album. I thought it was kind of weird that this is a deep cut. It's kind of weird. The song, The Medicine, continues this sound, unfortunately, featuring Little Lotus in the verse, and it gives really strong pop feels as you would expect. There's some distorted vocals in the chorus, but the lyrics to me were pretty bland, which is not something I would say about any of the other songs on this. I feel like they're really deep, pretty personal, and very creative and well written. It's also the longest song at 4 minutes and 43 seconds, and the music doesn't really start to pick up until 3 minutes in. Sure, it's heavy and it's brutal after that, and the breakdown is there, but it just doesn't really do too much to save the rest of the song. It feels very repetitive also by the time it's over. I just feel like you spend too much time just waiting for this song to start, and then by the time it does, you're already thinking about the next song, ready to skip it. This was a very tough review because I absolutely love Left to Suffer. I loved all the stuff that they've done. Feral is a fantastic album, and all their EPs. On Death is just up there with some of the best sounding stuff that there is. But out of 8 tracks, 3 of these are absolutely brilliant. 2 of them are okay. I mean, they're pretty solid, you know, and then another 3 are fairly skippable, and it makes it very hard to rate. I'd say that this has some of the best stuff that Left to Suffer has ever written, and it has some of the worst stuff that Left to Suffer has ever written. Deathcore purists will probably dislike this entire thing, maybe like 1 or 2 songs, but the clean vocals on this to me aren't that bad. They sound so good. They worked it in there beautifully on the songs that stand out more. I would say, I don't know, it's kind of split down the middle because of that, because where it falls apart is when the songwriting becomes more generic. It's not so much the clean vocals, it's the generic metalcore sounding stuff, or it's the songs where they tried to do a little too much and it just didn't work out. So it just kind of falls apart for me, specifically in the middle. The deep cuts on this are just not it. They kind of catfished us a little bit with the singles that they released. Normally you do it the other way around. You show them some generic single thing, and then the deep cuts are super, super hard hitting, and that's what gets you hooked in the album. It's the opposite with this. So with all that said, I got to give Leap of Faith by Left to Suffer a 6.6 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. I have a feeling this album is going to be pretty split. It's going to be polarizing, I would say. So leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Leap of Death. Let me know what you would rate it, what your favorite song is. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. That helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm. It pushes my videos so much harder to other people who would be interested in this type of stuff as well. It'll keep my video popping up on your recommended feed. And of course, if you want to support me further than that, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon. Do any of those things helps me out tremendously, and I appreciate it so much. And I just appreciate you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, or night, whenever you happen to be watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time.